The next morning, the air in the Turner house was thick and heavy. Sophia moved around like a ghost, silent, her face pale from another sleepless night. She avoided Lily's eyes, and Lily avoided hers. Breakfast passed in clinks of spoons and the ticking of the old kitchen clock, each second dragging on like a punishment at school. Lily sat at the back of the classroom, chin propped on her hand. She couldn't stop replaying the fight. The look in her mother's eyes, pain, anger, fear, all tangled together, haunted her. But so did the man's face on the magazine cover. Daniel Turner. Her father. When recess came, she slipped into the library instead of going outside. The school computers hummed as she logged in. Her fingers trembled, but determination fueled her. She typed his name. Results flooded the screen. Photographs of a man in sharp suits, speaking at conferences, shaking hands with politicians, cutting ribbons at charity galas. Headlines called him the visionary of Chicago finance, Daniel Turner, from humble roots to corporate king. Lily's eyes darted over the images. His smile was confident, practiced. But in one candid photo, taken at an award ceremony, she caught something different, a flicker of weariness, maybe even sadness. She leaned closer, heart pounding. "That's him," she whispered. "That's my dad." The librarian's voice startled her. "Lily, you're supposed to be outside." Flustered, Lily closed the tab too quickly. "I was just researching for a project." She shoved her notebook into her backpack and hurried out, cheeks burning. That evening, when Sophia asked about homework, Lily lied. "It's all done." Then she retreated to her room, closing the door tight. She opened her notebook, where she had scribbled, "Daniel Turner, CEO of Turner Holdings office, downtown Chicago public events." Often in the news, her heart raced. It felt dangerous, thrilling, but she wasn't ready to stop there. Over the next week, she became an expert at sneaking time on the library computers. She learned the names of his board members, the charities he supported, even the sleek glass tower that served as his headquarters. One afternoon, she stumbled on an article about an upcoming Gayland annual fundraiser at the City Museum. Open to the public if you could afford the ticket. Daniel Turner would be there. Her pulse quickened. This is it. This is how I'll see him. The problem, tickets cost more than she and her mother could dream of spending. Lily chewed her pencil, thinking she couldn't ask Sophia not after what happened, so she hatched a reckless plan that Friday. While Sophia worked late grading papers, Lily biked to the museum. She pressed her face against the glass doors, peering inside at posters advertising the gala. Gold letters spelled out an evening of elegance. Turner Holdings, Benefit, Gala. Security guards lingered near the entrance, and Lily ducked back. She wasn't sure how yet, but she swore she'd find a way in. When she got home, Sophia was waiting, arms crossed, eyes stormy. "Where have you been?" Lily stammered, just with friends. Sophia's expression hardened. "Don't lie to me." The tension from before surged back, sharper than ever. Lily fled to her room, slamming the door. She pressed her back against it, heart racing, clutching her notebook like a lifeline. Her mother might hate the idea, but Lily couldn't stop now. Somewhere beyond her small world, her father was out there, smiling for cameras, speaking to crowds, living a life she had been denied. And no matter what it took, Lily was going to stand in front of him, face to face, and ask the question that burned inside her every night. Why weren't you there? Saturday morning arrived, bright and cold. The autumn air carried the scent of burning leaves, drifting through the cracked window of Lily's room. She sat cross-legged on her bed, her notebook sprawled in front of her. Page after page was filled with scribbles, maps of downtown Chicago, lists of bus routes, sketches of dresses copied from store displays. She had built her plan in secret, but it still felt like trying to climb a mountain barefoot. Tickets were impossible. She had no money, no connections. But Lily was stubborn. Her mother often called her hard-headed, sometimes as an insult, sometimes as a backhanded compliment. This time, Lily clung to it as a strength. She flipped to the newest page. In bold letters she had written, "Find another way in." Her first idea was reckless. Sneak through the museum's side entrance on gala night. She had seen staff carrying boxes through there before. But how would she blend in? She didn't have a uniform, didn't have credentials. Her second idea came after hours of watching videos online. She learned that galas often had caterers, volunteers, even student musicians hired for background entertainment. Lily couldn't play the violin or carry a tray of wine glasses without spilling them. But maybe she could slip in pretending to be someone's helper. Her pencil tapped against the page. It was wild, impossible. But so was the thought of living her whole life without meeting him, downstairs. She heard her mother's voice. "Lily, breakfast." She shoved the notebook under her pillow and rushed down. Sophia was at the stove, flipping pancakes, her face composed but tired. Lily slid into her chair, trying to act casual. "You've been quiet lately," Sophia said, setting a plate in front of her. "Is something wrong at school?" "No," Lily stabbed her pancake. "Are you fighting with your friends?" "No," Sophia sighed, sitting across from her. Her eyes softened for the first time in days. "Sweetheart, I know you're upset with me. I can't explain everything right now, but please trust me. I'm only trying to keep you safe." Lily looked at her mother, throat tight. For a second she wanted to spill everything, the notebook, the plan, the museum. But then the memory of their last fight hit her like a wave. Her mother's voice saying that man is not part of our lives. She couldn't risk hearing it again, so she forced a smile. "I'm fine, Mum." But Sophia didn't buy it. She noticed the way Lily avoided her gaze, the quick movements, the new distance. Something had shifted, and fear gnawed at her. After breakfast, when Lily retreated upstairs, Sophia lingered at the table, staring into her coffee cup. She whispered to herself, "Please, God, don't let her find him." Meanwhile, in her room, Lily returned to her notebook. Her latest scheme formed in bold letters, volunteer sign-up. She had discovered that the museum accepted high school volunteers to help with big events. She wasn't in high school yet, but maybe no one would check too closely. If she dressed older, spoke confidently, she might just slip through. That afternoon, she biked back to the museum. Her backpack thudded against her spine as she pedaled, her heart pounding with each turn of the wheel. When she arrived, a banner fluttered. "Volunteers needed for upcoming gala, apply inside." Her chest nearly burst with excitement. She chained her bike, smoothed her hair, and walked inside. The volunteer coordinator, a tall woman with glasses, looked her over skeptically. "You're a bit young, aren't you?" Lily swallowed hard. "I'm mature for my age, and I love helping. Please, I'll do anything." The woman hesitated, then shrugged. "Fine, we're desperate for hands. You'll carry programs, guide guests, nothing fancy. Be here 2 hours before the gala. Lily's heart soared. She was in. She left the museum with a slip of paper clutched in her fist, her mind racing. For the first time, her father didn't feel like a distant dream. He felt real, close, almost within reach. But she didn't notice. Sophia's car parked across the street. Sophia had followed her, and when she saw her daughter walk out of the museum, smiling with a paper in her hand, Sophia's heart plummeted. She knew exactly what Lily was trying to do. The next few days in the Turner household were a quiet war. Sophia carried herself with the same rhythm as always: work, dinner, grading papers at the kitchen table, but beneath the surface her shoulders seemed heavier, her voice tighter. Lily noticed everything. Her mother avoided eye contact whenever the photo was near, so Lily hid it under her pillow. At night she'd take it out, run her fingers over the faces frozen in time. Her mother looked so happy, so alive, and Daniel, her father, looked like someone from another world. Someone who belonged in stories, not in the silence of their home. By the third night, Lily couldn't take it anymore. She decided if her mother wouldn't tell her the truth, she'd find it herself. It started with the neighbors. On her walk home from school, Lily lingered near Mrs. Callahan's porch. The elderly woman had lived in the neighborhood since before Lily was born, and her eyes always seemed to hold too many stories. Afternoon, Lily, Mrs. Callahan called, rocking gently in her chair. No soccer practice today. Lily shuffled her feet. No. Can I ask you something? Mrs. Callahan tilted her head. Of course, dear. Lily hesitated, then blurted, Do you remember my dad? The question seemed to steal the air from the porch. Mrs. Callahan blinked, then pressed her lips together. Your mother's a good woman, she said finally, her voice careful. She's done right by you. Sometimes that's all a child needs. Frustration prickled at Lily's skin. That's not an answer, she muttered, before stomping away at school. She tried asking her best friend, Maya, but Maya only shrugged. If your mum doesn't want to talk about him, maybe he was a jerk. My uncle's like that. No one even says his name anymore. But Lily didn't believe it. The man in the photo didn't look like a ghost to be erased. He looked important, powerful even, next to her mother. He seemed to command the room. Her chance came one Saturday morning when Sophia was busy grading essays in the living room. Lily slipped into the attic again, flashlight in hand. She searched every box, every trunk, her heart thudding with each discovery: faded letters, old receipts, a pair of cufflinks engraved with the initials DT, and then she found it, a stack of magazines tied with twine. She tugged them free, coughing as dust rose into the air. The top one was an old issue of Chicago Business Monthly. On the cover was a familiar face, Daniel Turner. He looked older than in the photo, but unmistakable, the same sharp jawline, the same eyes. The headline screamed, From Startup to Empire, Daniel Turner's Ascent in the World of Finance. Lily's hands shook as she flipped through the pages, scanning paragraphs she barely understood. Words like mergers, acquisitions, investments meant nothing to her. But the photographs were enough. Daniel in a tailored suit, shaking hands with other important men, speaking at conferences, smiling in a way that was polished but distant. Her father wasn't dead. He wasn't lost. He was alive, thriving while she and her mother lived in a small house, with leaky pipes and a creaky attic. Anger and excitement twisted together in her chest. All these years her mother had let her believe there was nothing to know. But here he was, printed in glossy ink for the whole world to see. She stuffed the magazine into her backpack, heart racing. For the first time, she had proof, not just a photo from the past, but evidence of the present. Her father wasn't a ghost. He was real, and Lily was going to find him. Asterisk that evening. Lily sat at her desk, pretending to do homework while her backpack, zipped tightly shut, hid the magazine inside. Every few minutes her eyes flicked toward it, her stomach knotting with anticipation and fear. She wanted to look again, to memorize every detail of Daniel Turner's face. But she couldn't risk her mother catching her. Sophia moved around the house in her quiet rhythm, folding laundry, preparing dinner, humming a tune under her breath. To anyone else, she looked composed. But Lily had begun to notice the little cracks, the way her mother's hands trembled when she thought no one was watching, the deep sighs that slipped out when the house grew still. After dinner, Sophia asked Lily to clear the table. Lily obeyed distractedly, her mind still fixed on the magazine. She almost made it to bedtime without incident till her backpack slipped off the chair, thudding against the floor. The zipper gave way, and the glossy cover slid halfway out. Sophia froze. Her eyes locked onto the image before Lily could shove it back inside. "Where did you get that?" Sophia's voice was sharp, colder than Lily had ever heard it. Lily's throat went dry. "I found it in the attic." Sophia snatched the magazine, her hands trembling. Her eyes darted across the cover, then the article. For a moment, she seemed somewhere else entirely, her lips parting as if reliving a memory too heavy to bear. "Mom," Lily whispered, "why didn't you tell me?" Sophia slammed the magazine shut. "Because it doesn't matter. That man," her voice cracked, then hardened again. "That man is not part of our lives. But he's my dad." Lily's voice rose, a mixture of desperation and fury. "He's alive. He's important. Everyone knows him. And you kept it from me." Sophia flinched, pressing the magazine to her chest like a shield. "I kept it from you to protect you. You don't know what he's like, Lily." "You're wrong," Lily shot back. "I saw his face. He doesn't look like a bad person. He looks like someone who belongs to me." Tears burned Sophia's eyes, but she turned away, refusing to let them fall. "You're too young to understand. He made his choice years ago. He left us." Lily's fists clenched at her sides. "Or maybe you pushed him away. Maybe it's your fault I don't have a dad." The words hung in the air like a knife. Sophia's breath caught. She stared at her daughter, wounded, her voice barely more than a whisper. "You think I wanted this life for you? That I wanted to raise you alone? You have no idea what I gave up." "Something inside," Lily snapped. She stomped toward the door, her face hot with tears she wouldn't let fall. "Then maybe I'll find him myself. Maybe he'll tell me the truth because you won't." The slam of the door shook the house. Sophia sank into a chair, clutching the magazine so tightly the paper crumpled. She buried her face in her hands, trembling, caught between rage and heartbreak. Outside, on the porch steps, Lily sat hugging her knees, staring at the dark street. Her chest ached, but beneath the hurt was a flicker of determination. She would find him. She had to, because somewhere in the glittering world her mother despised, Daniel Turner was alive, and Lily was done living without answers. The house smelled faintly of old books and lemon polish, the kind of scent that clung to the walls no matter how many windows Sophia opened. It was a modest two-story home on the outskirts of Chicago, filled with the rhythm of routine. Sophia leaving early for her teaching job, Lily spreading her crayons across the kitchen table. The evenings quiet except for the hum of the TV neither of them really watched. But in the stillness of an autumn Saturday morning, the house felt different. Lily had been told countless times not to play in the attic, it was unsafe. Sophia always said, but boredom and curiosity worked together like a conspiracy. The narrow wooden ladder creaked under her weight as she climbed. Dust motes dancing in the sunlight, spilling through the small round window. The attic was crowded with boxes stacked haphazardly, their labels faded. Lily wrinkled her nose. It smelled of dust, cedar, and secrets. She crouched down and began tugging at a box half buried under a stack of yellowed magazines. It slid open with a soft groan, revealing blankets, a wedding veil, and at the bottom, a framed photograph. She pulled it free and wiped the dust with her sleeve. The image stole her breath. It was her, mother years younger, radiant in a white gown. Beside her stood a man tall and sharp in a tuxedo, his hand resting possessively on her waist. His smile was faint but magnetic, his eyes carrying a confidence Lily had never seen in anyone she knew. Her pulse quickened. She had never seen this man before. Beneath the photo, in elegant script, the words, Daniel and Sophia. June 2008. Lily's fingers tightened on the frame. Daniel, a name her mother had never spoken. A father she had never known. Her mind raced with questions. Why had her mother hidden this? Why had she grown up hearing nothing but silence when it came to her father? Footsteps echoed below. Lily shoved the photo into her hoodie and hurried down the ladder just as Sophia entered the hallway. Lily, were you in the attic again? Sophia's voice was sharp, weary in the way of someone used to repeating the same warnings. Lily jutted out her chin, her tone defiant. I was just looking. What's the big deal? It's just boxes. Sophia's eyes narrowed. I told you, it's dangerous up there. Nails, loose boards. I don't want you sneaking around. Lily crossed her arms. Maybe if you didn't keep so many secrets, I wouldn't have to sneak. Sophia stiffened. What do you mean? But Lily only shrugged, bolder than she felt inside. Nothing. Forget it. As Sophia turned away, Lily's heart thudded against the hidden photograph pressed to her side. She wasn't about to forget. For the first time in her 10 years, she had proof her family was bigger than the story she'd been told, and no matter how much her mother wanted silence, Lily was determined to find out the truth. That evening, the house was filled with the quiet clatter of dishes. Sophia stood at the sink, sleeves rolled up, humming faintly as she rinsed plates. Lily sat at the table, legs swinging impatiently, her hoodie zipped all the way up despite the warmth of the kitchen, hidden inside the pocket. The photograph pressed against her palm like a secret begging to be shouted aloud. She watched her mother's back, every movement precise, efficient, controlled. For a moment, Lily hesitated, but the words inside her bubbled hotter and hotter until they spilled over. Mum, she blurted, who's Daniel? The sponge slipped from Sophia's fingers. Water splashed against the counter. She turned slowly, her expression carefully blank, but her eyes betrayed her wide, startled, wounded. Where did you hear that name? Lily pulled the photo from her pocket and slapped it onto the table. From here, from this. You didn't tell me you were married. You didn't tell me about him. For a long moment, silence filled the kitchen, broken only by the drip of the faucet. Sophia dried her hands slowly, then sat across from her daughter. She reached for the photo, but Lily yanked it back, hugging it to her chest. "Where did you find this?" Sophia asked, her voice low, taut. "In the attic," Lily shot back. "You said it was dangerous, but the only dangerous thing up there is your secrets." Sophia flinched, as if struck. "Lily, why didn't you tell me I have a dad?" Lily's voice cracked, tears pricking her eyes, though her chin stayed defiantly high. "All this time, I thought it was just us. Everyone else at school has a dad. And you let me believe mine didn't even exist." Sophia's hands trembled in her lap. She wanted to reach across the table, to hold her daughter, but Lily's fierce gaze pinned her in place. "It's not that simple," she whispered. "Then make it simple," Lily snapped. "Tell me who he is. Tell me where he is. Is he dead? Did he leave you? Did he leave me?" The barrage of questions hit Sophia like stones. She swallowed hard, fighting for composure. "Your father? He's alive. But he's not part of our lives anymore. That's all you need to know. That's not enough." Lily slammed her small fist against the table, the sound sharp in the still kitchen. "You can't just say that and expect me to stop asking. He's my dad, too. I have the right to know." Sophia's eyes filled with tears, but her voice sharpened. "Lily, please. Some answers hurt more than silence. You're too young, I'm not a baby." Lily shot back. Her voice wavered, but she forced it steady. "You treat me like I can't handle the truth, but maybe you're the one who can't handle it." The words pierced deeper than Lily realized. Sophia's face crumpled, her strength faltering. She stood abruptly, gathering the dishes with shaking hands, retreating into motion because words failed her. Lily sat stiff at the table, clutching the photo like a shield. Her chest heaved with anger, but underneath the fire was a hollow ache. Sophia's silence was louder than any answer, and Lily, stubborn and unrelenting, made herself a promise in that moment. If her mother wouldn't tell her the truth, she would find it herself, no matter what it cost. The night of the gala crept closer with every tick of the clock. By the time Friday arrived, the Turner house felt like it was holding its breath. Lily stood in front of her mirror, brushing her hair until it gleamed. She wore her nicest dress light blue with tiny embroidered flowers. It wasn't glamorous compared to the gowns she had seen online, but it made her look older, more confident. She slipped the volunteer badge, carefully tucked into her backpack, around her neck. Her reflection stared back, nervous, determined, unshakable. "This is it," she whispered. "I'm finally going to see him." Downstairs, Sophia was pacing the living room. She had tried everything that weak gentle talks, stern warnings, sudden distractions, but nothing had reached her daughter. She had seen the defiance in Lily's eyes, the way she clutched her notebook like a lifeline, and she knew Lily would go through with it. Sophia pressed a hand against her chest. Her heart thudded so hard it hurt. Memories crowded her mind. Daniel's voice telling her he was too busy, Daniel's empty side of the bed, Daniel's signature on the papers that had ended it all, and then Lily's birth, alone in a hospital room, clutching her baby with no one to lean on. She had sworn Lily would never suffer the same pain, but tonight, the past was clawing its way back. When Lily came downstairs, Sophia's breath caught. "Where are you going?" "Just out," Lily said quickly, adjusting the strap of her backpack. Sophia stepped in front of the door, her eyes fierce. "Don't lie to me. You're going to him, aren't you?" Lily's jaw tightened. "I'm not going to him. I'm going to see him. There's a difference." Sophia shook her head, tears pricking her eyes. Lily, please. You don't understand who he really is. He's not the man you think. Then tell me who he is. Lily shouted, her voice trembling with raw emotion. Tell me why you kept him from me. Because right now, all I know is you hate him, and I don't know if that's fair. Maybe he left. Maybe you pushed him away. But I can't keep pretending he doesn't exist. Her words cut like glass. Sophia staggered back, breath shuddering. For a moment, silence filled the house. Then she whispered, "If you walk out that door, Lily, everything changes." Lily's eyes softened just a fraction, but then hardened again. It already has. She slipped past her mother and ran down the street, the evening air biting her cheeks. Sophia stood frozen, her hand pressed against the doorframe, watching her daughter disappear into the growing night. By the time Sophia grabbed her keys and followed, Lily was already on the bus, her volunteer badge hidden under her jacket, her notebook in her lap. Her heart hammered as the city skyline came into view, glowing against the darkening sky. At that same hour, in a glass tower downtown, Daniel Turner adjusted his cufflinks in front of a gilded mirror. The press would be waiting, the donors eager to shake his hand. But for some reason, tonight his reflection felt hollow. He poured himself a glass of scotch, downed it too quickly, and muttered to his empty suite, "Another night. Another mask." Neither father nor daughter knew that their worlds were about to collide, and Sophia, driving with white knuckles around the steering wheel, prayed she could reach the museum before it was too late. Asterisk, the city museum glittered like a jewel against the night sky. Spotlights swept across the marble facade, catching the golden letters of the gala banner. Black cars lined the curb, spilling out guests in silk gowns and tuxedos. Reporters shouted questions, photographers' flashes burst like fireworks, and the hum of wealth and power vibrated in the air. Lily clutched her volunteer badge tightly, her stomach twisting into knots. She stood among the other young helpers in plain black uniforms, their voices buzzing nervously. The coordinator with glasses, the same woman from before, handed out stacks of programs. "Smile, hand these to the guests, and don't get in anyone's way," she instructed briskly. Lily nodded, her heart pounding. Her small hands gripped the glossy papers as if they were tickets to destiny. She told herself to breathe, to act natural, to blend in. No one could know she wasn't just another volunteer. Inside, the museum's great hall had been transformed. Crystal chandeliers bathed the space in golden light. Tables draped in velvet overflowed with champagne flutes. A string quartet played softly, their music weaving through the hum of polite laughter. The air smelled of roses and expensive perfume. For Lily, it felt like stepping into another world, a world her mother had always said they didn't belong to. But tonight, she did. As the guests streamed in, Lily handed out programs, her eyes darting everywhere. Every tall man in a tuxedo made her heart skip. Was that him? No, that one. No, and then a ripple went through the crowd near the entrance. The cameras exploded in a frenzy. Lily craned her neck, and there he was, Daniel Turner. He stood tall in a tailored black suit, his presence commanding even in silence. His dark hair was neatly combed, his jawline sharp. He smiled at the cameras, but it didn't quite reach his eyes. He shook hands, nodded politely, let the flashes consume him. Lily's chest tightened. She whispered to herself, "That's him. That's my dad." Her fingers trembled so badly she dropped a program. She bent to pick it up, her breath ragged. When she stood again, his gaze swept the room, and for a split second, their eyes met. She froze. Of course, he didn't recognize her. How could he? She was just a child in a volunteer's uniform. But to Lily, the connection was electric, undeniable. Before she could move closer, the coordinator barked, "Keep moving, kids. Spread out." Lily stumbled back, swallowing her frustration. She couldn't blow her cover now. She had to be patient. Outside the museum, a car screeched to a stop. Sophia jumped out, her heels clicking against the pavement. Her chest heaved with panic as she scanned the glittering crowd. She spotted the banner, the cameras, the long line of volunteers at the doors, and among them her daughter, Lily. Sophia's voice caught in her throat, drowned out by the music and chatter. She pushed forward, but a guard blocked her. "Invitation only, ma'am." "I'm not here for the party," she snapped. "My daughter, she's inside." "She's only 10. She shouldn't, ma'am. Please step aside." Sophia's heart pounded. She glanced through the doors again, just in time to see Daniel Turner shaking hands with the mayor. Her entire body went rigid. There he was. The man who had broken her heart, the man Lily had never stopped asking about. And now her daughter was only steps away from him, inside. Lily carried her empty tray toward the back of the hall, her pulse hammering in her ears. She had never been so close to him. She could hear his voice, low and smooth, speaking to donors. She could see the way people leaned in, eager for his attention, and she thought, "I just need one moment, one chance to stand in front of him." But she didn't see Sophia slip inside through a side entrance, desperation overriding the rules. Mother and daughter were on a collision course, their paths converging beneath the chandeliers of the Grand Museum, and at the center of it all, Daniel Turner smiled for the cameras, unaware that the night would unravel everything he thought he knew. Daniel Turner was a man used to reading rooms. He had built an empire on sensing tension before anyone else, on recognizing the tiniest shift in mood. But tonight, amid the chatter of donors and the clink of champagne glasses, his gaze kept drifting again and again to the small girl weaving nervously through the crowd of volunteers. At first, he brushed it off. Just another child, younger than the others, maybe helping out because someone begged the coordinator. But then she looked at him. Really looked. Her eyes were wide, unblinking, filled with something that rattled him. To the core, recognition. He faltered mid-sentence during a conversation with the mayor. His smile slipped for a fraction of a second before he forced it back. He couldn't shake the feeling. The girl was staring at him, like she had been waiting her whole life. Lily's palms were damp as she gripped the stack of programs. She told herself to stay calm, to wait until the moment was right, but her body betrayed her. She edged closer, step by step, her gaze locked on him. The world around her blurred the chandeliers, the chatter. The music all drowned beneath the thunder of her heartbeat. And then, just as she reached the edge of his circle, a hand yanked her back. Lily's mother's voice, fierce and low, cut through the noise like a blade. Sophia's grip was iron on her daughter's arm, her face pale with fury and fear. "What are you doing here?" Sophia hissed. Lily tried to pull free. "I just want to talk to him. Just once." "You can't. Not here. Not ever." Sophia's voice cracked, desperation seeping through. She tugged harder, pulling Lily toward the exit. But Daniel had seen he excused himself from the mayor with a polite nod. His gaze fixed on the scene unfolding just beyond the crowd. His steps were deliberate as he approached, weaving through clusters of guests until he stood only a few feet away. "Excuse me," he said, his deep voice commanding yet strangely hesitant. Sophia froze. Slowly, she turned. For the first time in years, their eyes met. The noise of the gala faded into silence around them. Sophia's breath caught in her throat. Daniel looked older, more lines around his eyes, more weight in his posture, but the sight of him still struck her like a blow. Memories she had fought to bury surged up. Late nights waiting, unanswered calls, the day she walked away with a newborn in her arms. And now, here he was, standing inches from her, staring at the child she was trying to drag away. "Is she?" Daniel's voice faltered, his eyes fixed on Lily. "Is she mine?" The question sliced the air open. Guests nearby slowed, glancing curiously, sensing drama. Sophia's grip on Lily tightened. Her lips parted, but no words came. Her entire body trembled, caught between denial and confession. Lily looked between them, her heart leaping into her throat. Her voice was small but steady. "Mum, please. Tell him." Sophia's face crumpled. Daniel took a step closer, his eyes burning with a mix of hope, fear, and dawning realization. "Sophia, answer me." The chandelier lights glimmered above them, the music swelled, and for one impossible moment, time stood still. Sophia's heart pounded so hard she thought it might tear through her chest. Every pair of eyes near them seemed to press closer, curious about the crack in her composure. She wanted to scream at them all, to look away, to stop listening, but most of all, she wanted to shield Lily. Her daughter's gaze was pleading, desperate. "Tell him, please, Mum." Sophia shook her head, fighting for breath. "This isn't the place." But Daniel's voice, lower now, unrelenting, cut through the swell of music. "I've spent years surrounded by liars, by people who only tell me what I want to hear. Don't you dare stand here and lie to me about this." His eyes flicked to Lily, then back to Sophia. "She looks just like me. I see it. Don't think I don't." Lily whispered, barely audible, "Daddy." The word broke Sophia. Her knees nearly buckled. The sound of it, spoken aloud. After all these years, it was like reopening an old wound she had stitched shut with her bare hands. She turned on her daughter, her voice sharp with panic. "Don't call him that." Lily flinched, tears welling in her eyes. "Why not? It's true, isn't it?" Daniel's breath caught, as though the single word had pierced straight through his armor. His hands trembled slightly at his sides, but his voice was steady. "Sophia, I deserve the truth." The crowd nearby buzzed with whispers, their curiosity barely contained. The mayor glanced over, frowning, but no one dared to intervene. Sophia pulled Lily closer to her chest, clutching her like a lifeline. Her eyes blazed, though tears streaked her face. "The truth. The truth is that when I needed you most, you weren't there. The truth is I carried her alone, raised her alone, while you drowned yourself in deals and headlines. You don't get to demand anything from me." Her words struck Daniel like a physical blow. He staggered back a step, his face paling. His polished image cracked, and beneath it, raw regret flickered. "I didn't know," he whispered hoarsely. "God, Sophia, I didn't know." Sophia laughed bitterly, though it came out as more of a sob. "You didn't want to know. You chose not to see. And now she's old enough to ask questions, and you want to swoop in like you deserve an answer." Lily tore herself from her mother's grip, her small voice breaking through the storm. "Stop it, both of you. The room went still. Her eyes shone with tears, her fists clenched. I don't care what happened between you. I don't care about your fights or your excuses. I just wanted to know him, to know where I come from, and you've both made it feel like I did something wrong for wanting that. Sophia froze, stunned silent. Daniel's eyes glistened, his throat tight. In that moment, the chandeliers seemed to dim, the music hollow, the grandeur of the gala meaningless. What mattered was the little girl standing between them, shaking, demanding to be seen. Sophia knelt, reaching for her daughter's hands. Lily, sweetheart, I'm sorry. I only wanted to protect you. Lily pulled back, her face red with anger and hurt. From what? From him? Or from the truth? Daniel stepped forward, his voice ragged. Lily, I swear to you I never knew. But if I had, nothing would have kept me away. Sophia looked at him, fury and sorrow colliding. Don't make promises you can't keep. Not to her. The air crackled with tension. The unspoken truth, now undeniable. And for the first time, Daniel Turner, polished CEO, untouchable public figure, looked utterly undone. The night air outside the museum was cold, sharp, almost punishing. Sophia pulled Lily's hand tightly as they pushed through the crowd of curious onlookers. The chatter of the gala spilled out behind them, but it felt a world away now. All that mattered was getting out, away from the cameras, away from the whispers, away from him. Mum, slow down. Lily cried, stumbling to keep up. But Sophia didn't stop. Her heels clicked furiously against the pavement, her chest heaving with rage and panic. She couldn't risk another scene, not in front of Daniel. Not in front of strangers who would devour their story like gossip. When they reached the car, Sophia nearly shoved Lily into the passenger seat, her hands shaking as she fumbled with the keys. Her daughter sat stiffly, arms crossed, her face wet with tears. You embarrassed me, Lily muttered, her voice trembling. You embarrassed both of us. Sophia whipped her head around, eyes blazing. Embarrassed you. I was trying to save you. From what? Lily shot back, her voice breaking. From knowing my own father. From hearing him say he cares. Sophia's breath caught. She gripped the steering wheel so tightly her knuckles whitened. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then she whispered, barely audible, from being hurt by him the way I was. Lily turned to the window, refusing to look at her mother. The city lights blurred through her tears. Back inside the museum, Daniel stood frozen in the aftermath. The gala swirled on without him, music playing, guests murmuring, but he heard none of it. His chest felt hollow, his mind spinning. A child, his child. The image of her face so much like his own when he was young burned into him. The word she had whispered, so tentative, yet certain, Daddy. He stumbled into a side room, away from the flashing cameras, and braced himself against a marble pillar. His reflection in the tall window stared back, pale, shaken, utterly human. For years he had hidden behind the armor of power, the image of success. But that little girl's eyes had pierced it all. God, he muttered, dragging a hand through his hair. What have I done? His aide, a young man in a sharp suit, entered cautiously. Mr. Turner, are you all right? The press is waiting. Cancel them, Daniel snapped, his voice raw. Clear my schedule. Tonight, tomorrow, I don't care. Just clear it. The aide blinked, startled. But sir, the donors do as I said. Alone again, Daniel sank into a chair. His mind replayed Sophia's words, sharp as glass. You weren't there. You chose not to see. He thought of the years, 7 of them, when she must have struggled alone. When Lily had taken her first steps, spoken her first words, blown out birthday candles he never lit. Regret clawed at him, fierce and unrelenting. But beneath the regret was something stronger. Determination. He had lost years, yes. But he wasn't going to lose any more. Meanwhile, in the car, Sophia gripped the steering wheel as tears streamed silently down her face. Lily had fallen asleep against the window, her small shoulders rising and falling with uneven breaths. She looked so fragile in that moment, caught between childhood and something heavier, something too old for her years. Sophia reached out, brushing a strand of hair from her daughter's face. "I'm sorry, baby," she whispered. "I just wanted to keep you safe." But deep down, she knew Lily's world had shifted tonight. Nothing would ever be the same again. And Daniel Turner, for the first time in his life, wasn't thinking about contracts or cameras. He was thinking about the little girl who had called him daddy, and he was determined to find her again. 2 days passed, but for Daniel Turner they felt like years. He cancelled meetings, ignored calls, shut himself in his penthouse. His assistants whispered, puzzled, but he didn't care. His empire could crumble. It wouldn't matter compared to the face of the girl who had looked at him with both wonder and pain. Her name, he realized, was Lily. He had heard Sophia call her once, just before dragging her away. He repeated it to himself in the empty apartment, tasting the syllables like a prayer. Lily. By the 3rd day, determination replaced paralysis. Daniel wasn't a man used to waiting. He had built everything by moving, pushing, forcing doors open, and this was no different. He started with public records, combing through addresses and old employment forms. It didn't take long. Sophia hadn't changed her last name. Soon enough, he had an address, a modest house on the outskirts of the city. That evening, he drove himself there. No chauffeur, no entourage, just him, his hands gripping the wheels so tight they ached. When he pulled up to the quiet street, the sight of the small house hit him harder than any skyscraper ever had. It looked lived in, warm, ordinary, the kind of home he had never truly known. Through the window, he saw Sophia moving about the kitchen, her hair tied back, exhaustion etched in her posture. Then Lily appeared, setting the table, her face serious but beautiful in its determination. Daniel's throat tightened. For a moment, he stayed in the car, paralyzed by the enormity of it. Then he stepped out, his polished shoes crunching on the gravel. He knocked. The sound echoed like a drumbeat in Sophia's chest. She froze, wiping her hands on a dish towel, dread washing over her. She knew who it was before she opened the door. When she did, her breath caught. Daniel stood there, no cameras, no crowd, no polished smile. Just a man, shoulders heavy, eyes haunted. "Sophia," he said quietly, "please. I need to talk." She gripped the doorframe, every instinct screaming to slam it shut. "You shouldn't be here. I had to come. I need to see her. To see you both." His voice cracked. "Just once. If you never let me back after that, I'll go. But don't turn me away now." Sophia's heart twisted. She wanted to scream at him, to remind him of every night she had cried alone, every moment he hadn't been there. But then Lily appeared behind her, eyes wide. "Mum, who is it?" Sophia turned, panic rising. But Lily had already seen. Her gaze darted from her mother's pale face to the man standing in the doorway. "Daddy," she whispered. The word shattered what little strength Sophia had left. She closed her eyes, fighting tears. Daniel stepped forward, his own eyes glistening. "Lily," he said, his voice trembling. "It's me. I'm so sorry I wasn't there. But I'm here now. If you'll let me be." The girl hesitated only a moment before throwing herself into his arms. Daniel caught her, holding her tightly, as though afraid she might vanish. His body shook with silent sobs. Sophia stood frozen, her chest aching at the sight. Her daughter, clinging to the man who had once destroyed her. The man who was also her father. When Daniel finally looked up, his voice was raw. "Sophia, I can't undo the past. I can't erase the pain. But I swear to you I won't walk away again. Not from her. Not from you." Sophia's tears finally spilled over. She wanted to believe him. God, she wanted to. But trust was a bridge burned long ago, still. As she watched Lily's small hands clutch his suit jacket, she realized something. This wasn't just her choice anymore. Lily had found her father, and nothing would ever erase that. The three of them stood in the doorway, the night air pressing in, the future uncertain. But for the first time in years, the possibility of a family, fragile, fractured, but real, hung in the balance. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough to start. Winter settled over Chicago with its usual bite streets, dusted in snow, rooftops shining under pale sunlight. The Turner house on the outskirts of the city looked almost magical. Smoke curling from the chimney, frost glittering on the windows inside. Laughter echoed. Lily sat cross-legged on the floor, carefully assembling a puzzle. Across from her, Daniel crouched, his expensive suit jacket tossed over the couch, his tie loosened. He squinted at the scattered pieces, feigning confusion. "Are you sure this goes here?" he asked, turning a piece upside down. Lily giggled. "No, Daddy. That's a corner piece. You don't even know how puzzles work." Daniel laughed, a sound that felt foreign to him, rusty but healing. "Maybe you'll have to teach me." Sophia stood in the doorway, arms folded, watching the scene. Her heart twisted at the sight. Lily glowing. Daniel kneeling on the rug like an ordinary man instead of the untouchable CEO. The world knew that it had been weeks since that night at the gala. The days after had been stormy arguments, silences, mistrust. But slowly, through patience and persistence, Daniel had proven he wasn't going anywhere. He came by after work, sometimes just to sit at the kitchen table and listen to Lily chatter about school. He carried groceries, fixed the leaky faucet, shoveled snow from the driveway. Small things. But things that mattered. Sophia wasn't ready to forgive. Not fully. The wound ran too deep. But she couldn't deny the change in Lily, the light in her eyes, the ease in her laughter. The little girl who had once stared at the ceiling, whispering why wasn't he there, now had an answer, however imperfect. Later that evening, after Lily had gone to bed, Sophia found Daniel still in the living room. He sat quietly, staring at the completed puzzle on the coffee table, his expression unreadable. "You're still here," she said softly. Daniel looked up. "I told you, mine, not leaving again." Sophia hesitated, then sat across from him. The silence between them was thick, but not hostile. She studied his face, the wariness in his eyes, the lines of regret etched deep, but also the sincerity that hadn't been there before. I can't promise anything, she whispered. Not forgiveness, not a future. But I can promise I'll try. For her. Daniel nodded, his voice rough. That's all I ask. They sat there for a long time, the quiet of the house wrapping around them. Outside, snow fell softly, blanketing the world in white. Upstairs, Lily stirred in her sleep, murmuring a single word that carried through the walls. A word that bound them all together, Daddy. And for the first time in years, Sophia allowed herself to believe that maybe, just maybe, the future could be rewritten.